War had been declared, but not on a traditional battlefield. It was a war for imaginations, for parents' wallets, and, most of all, for children's hearts. Hot Wheels had stormed the toy market in 1968, selling more than 16 million cars in its first year. But what happens when the dethroned king decides to fight back? Matchbox, the venerable British brand, wasn't going to give up easily. Their response wasn't just an attempt at imitation, but a strategic maneuver that forced Mattel to make a radical decision that would change the way Hot Wheels were viewed and collected forever. At the UK headquarters of Lesney Products, the makers of Matchbox, the atmosphere was icy. Jack O'Dell, co-founder and mastermind behind the brand, viewed the sales figures with disbelief and anger. For more than a decade, Matchbox had been the gold standard for toy cars. Its replicas were realistic, serious, and had a story. Hot Wheels, with its garish colors and fantastical designs, was seen as a vulgar American thing, but that vulgarity was winning. The pressure was unbearable. They had to rise to the challenge of speed. Matchbox's reaction was as swift as its traditional production processes allowed. In early 1969, they launched the super-fast line, needle axles, and some bolder designs. It was a tacit admission of defeat on the speed front, but a declaration of war on the realism front. Matchbox offered super-fast cars that still resembled their full-size counterparts, creating an alternative that appealed to both collectors and action-seeking kids. It was a blatant imitation of Hot Wheels technology, low-friction wheels. Matchbox's response forced Handler and his team to reevaluate their strategy. Hot Wheels had won by being the fastest car, but now it wasn't the only one. What was the next step? Chief designer Harry Bradley believed the brand should double down on fantasy, making cars that didn't exist in reality, create a universe of its own. But Mattel executives feared that straying too far from the real life models would scare away adult collectors, who were crucial to long-term profitability. There was an internal debate about whether Hot Wheels should be a total fantasy or a radical reflection of reality. The decision Handler and Bradley made was bold: to split the line. On the one hand, they would continue to create extreme versions of real cars, but on the other, they would introduce fantasy cars, the originals, in a more aggressive manner. This led to the development of iconic cars like the Splitting Image, a completely surreal design. It was a move that told the world that Hot Wheels was not only fast, but also imaginative. But more importantly, they realized that to maintain interest, they needed a hook beyond speed. They needed exclusivity. To counter Matchbox's accuracy, Hot Wheels doubled down on shine and color. They introduced SpectraFlame paint, a chemical plating process that gave the cars a deep, metallic luster never before seen on a toy. But SpectraFlame paint came in a limited palette, and soon, factory errors or limited editions became incredibly valuable. A color error or a minimal variation became a treasure unwittingly. Hot Wheels had created the concept of the rare collectible, and among these early editions, rumors began to circulate of a mythical pink car, the ultimate collector's item, that only a select few had ever seen. Hot Wheels' success was now based on speed, design, and rarity. They had overcome Matchbox's first assault, but the war was just beginning. The problem was that the high cost of SpectraFlame paint and producing the perfect wheels was eroding Mattel's profits. The company faced a dilemma: maintain the quality that made them famous, or cut costs to ensure profitability. The pursuit of profitability would lead to a transformation in the manufacturing process that many collectors to this day consider the first major betrayal of the brand.